reference documents. One is called the Quick Guide to Harvard, which is kind of a summary of a later document, which is called the CPUT Official Harvard's Reference Style. They are pretty much the same, except this official guide adds a bit more frills, some of which I don't agree with, but I will get to that. So let's go to the Quick Guide to Harvard. Can just someone please confirm that you can see on your screen now, Quick Guide to Harvard Bibliographic Citation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay. So first, you need to take note that there's a difference between a bibliography and a list of reference or a reference list. And I'll make this bigger. So a bibliography includes all the sources you've consulted, whether you in-text reference them or not. So we do not use a bibliography for academic purposes. What you'll use is a list of reference, or what is better referred to, as everyone refers to it, is a reference list. Okay? And what does a reference list comprise of? Only the sources that you cite or in-text reference in the text. Okay? So if you cite 10 sources, then there would be 10 sources in your reference list. If you cite one source 30 times, it still only goes in your reference list once. Okay, so just take note of that difference. Here's some common errors that I won't go through because you're going to get it all right, but you can read through that. Then, textual references, how does it work? And I'm just going to merge this document here, and I'm going to remove the bullets so that I can show you a few things. Okay. So if you write something and you say XXX blah 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 blah, you need to cite the sources. So you can cite it at the end of the sentence, and I don't want all of this in italics. So if you cite it, you give the author's names, okay, the year, and the page number, specifically if it's a journal article, a book, or a physical newspaper, or a thesis. But for other sources, there aren't page numbers. But you'll mostly be, and conference papers, there will also be, and book chapters, there will also be page numbers. So certain instances like the internet, there won't be page numbers. So it's the authors, comma, the year, colon, no space, the page number. If there were 3 authors, Ellis, Brown, and Peters, 3 or more authors, you do not list by means of, you do not list them all. You replace the other authors with et al, which means and others, comma, so et al full stop comma, and you delete that. So that's what it would look like. Ellis et al, comma, 2000 colon. So that's in text. However, if you decide to start the sentence, so let's take it here. You can also place the reference at the beginning of sentence. Et al. You remove the comma and you'd place it in brackets like this, and you'd say et al. Stated. ... So that's how it goes in the beginning of sentence. So when you have et al. Or the authors, it's always separated by comma, but it's et al. Full stop is replacing the other 2 or 3 or 4 authors, comma, the year, and if you start the sentence, it looks like that, right? However, if there's 2 sources, so let's just go back to this source. And this is, I mean, all I'm showing you to in-text reference is all there is to it. But if there's et al. And you start the sentence, you would use the full and. Et al. Mandated. So you would use the full and, but if you're now replacing it at the end of the sentence, then there would be brackets. This and would become an and like that. The brackets removed, comma, space, and they said, just to get away from the et al, blah, 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 et al, like that. Okay, so you can see, end of the sentence, if there's 3 or more authors, et al, full stop, comma. Beginning of a sentence, et al, there's no comma there anymore. The year and the page number stated. Beginning of the sentence, when there's 2 authors, it's a full and, but if you're placing it at the end of a sentence, it's an and. And that's all the rules there is to in-text referencing. It's not very complicated at all. If there's multiple references, then it goes in chronological order. So these guys said XXX blah, and you're going to use a lot of multiple. Then it goes chronological, 99, 2001, 2001, 2005. Okay, so that's chronological. But if they're in the same year, then you would place the author's names alphabetically. So C comes before D, so Cresswell becomes before Dodd. If there's a third one, Brown, comma, 221, colon, and take notice the authors are separated by a semicolon, then this would need to move here. B comes before C, B, C, D, because they're in the same year. If you had another source, say you had pink, and they're 2025, then it would come here, chronological, 2025. So that would be how it would go at the end of the sentence. Chronological and alphabetical order, that's all there is to it. Say you wanted to start the sentence with these authors. Then you would take this out, and you would remove the comma, and you replace the year with brackets. Set a comma to separate the authors, and you would place all the years in brackets. And comma, and brackets like this. Something I want to illustrate here, and the second last one, no comma here, brackets. Then you would say comma, and then the last one you would say and pink, and you would say stated. You see? So that's if you start the sentence, that's what it would look like. And obviously there could be page numbers here, colon 1 to 25 or whatever. When there's multiple authors at the end of the sentence, there's no and to separate the last author. It's just semicolons. But if you're starting a sentence with it and you mention all of these people, then there is an and at the end. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all there is to in-text referencing. It does not get any more complicated like that. It is very, very simple. And based on this explanation, you shouldn't make any mistakes in in-text referencing. One other thing that I could show you as well that sometimes happens is sometimes you have 2 authors that are 2 different articles from the same year. So in the reference list, let's just take these authors, say it's Brown, comma, B.J. So this would be in your reference list, right? And the article's name is, let's just say, virtual assistants, and let's just say the virtual assistants, whatever journal or whatever source will come to that. And there's another source, BJ chatbot marketing. This is just say assuming what it in your reference list, and there's another source Brown, comma, B dot J, full stop, 2005, and they are TAM model, right? Move that away, right? We don't worry about that. So now in your in-text referencing, the Brown 2025 doesn't matter because there's not two same sources. So this Brown 2025 would just come here. Brown 205 would come here because it's not the same. You don't have to do this. But these sources, you've got two Browns, and you've got two Browns here. How do you know? And this is your reference list, right, at the end. How do you know which source, which Brown refers to which Brown reference here? We need to differentiate because it's exactly the same. So everything in the reference list up until here is the same, but where it differs is the title of the article. So if you were to sort this alphabetically, sort A to Z, this is what it would sort to. So therefore, to differentiate between the C comes before V, so therefore you would put an A here, and you would put a B here. And in your in-text referencing, you would put the A here, if that came from chatbots, and you would put the B here. Okay? But let's just say this doesn't happen too often. So that now you know that 2001 A Brown, because it looks the same, refers to that, and 2000 B. But let's just say up here you had another Brown, a third source, which is unlikely, and that was Brown. Leave that said a study. That's how it started. So what would happen if you added a third source? If we sort this alphabetically, A comes before C, so therefore this source, and it's only sources with exactly the same name in the same year, then this would become A. Oops, this would become A. So this doesn't happen too often, but I see it. This would become B, and this would become C. So it's a references, and therefore you'd label this A if it came before, or even if you referenced it afterwards somewhere here in a different sentence, it stays A because it's referring to the source. This would become B, and this would become C. But it's only for exactly the same author in exactly the same year that you would then need to differentiate between the in-text referencing. And even if we use this source up here, it still stays 2001 C because it's referring to that, but it's a reference list that determines what's A, B, and C, but only the same author, same year. Okay. But that doesn't happen too often. So that's in-text referencing. Now, for the books, I'm going to go through the most common sources just to show you what it looks like. So everything you in-text reference here, even if you in-text reference one source 20 times, it must appear in the reference list only once. But there must be full correspondence. So every source you've in-text referenced must appear in the reference list, and every source that you've placed in the references must be in-text referenced once. So that's very important. So the CPUT Harvard format we use, and maybe I should just make this all just to make it easier to view. Just go up, come. Just going to make it all black. Right, yeah. So for a book, this is the format that it follows, not book reviews. I'm going to go through the most common sources that you use. Okay, just I've messed up everything, all the order here. So let's just delete this and then, yeah. So books. Make it a bit bigger. So books format is pretty simple. It's the author. So it's the author's surname separated by comma, space, the initial, J, full stop. So that's how you do one author. You'd place the year, the title of the book in italics. Some people say you should capitalize the book words. You can do that, but either or as long as you're consistent. The city it's published in, and for American cities, you often put an initial. The colon, separating it by a space, and then the publisher. So that's the formula. If there's two authors, it's the same formula, except now it's Ellis, comma, R, full stop, and Peters, comma, the initials separated by full stops. That's what it looks like. The year, the title of the book, the city it was published, and the year. If there's more than three authors or more, so it's Henderson, his surname, comma, the initials, R full stop, S full stop, and then each author separated by a comma. Smith, comma, PJ, comma, Rosetta, comma, the only time there's not a comma is before this and. IJ, full stop, okay. And then the next author, full stop, okay, the year, full stop, okay. Then the title of the book, the city, and the publisher. That's all there is to it. If there's an edition, you would not in italics say it's a second edition, you would say second edition, ed, full stop, New York. That's what it looks like if there's edition. So that's the formula. As I said, if there's three or more authors, if you reference, it would be Henderson et al. In the in-text referencing. So it's a Henderson et al. At the end, but if you started the sentence Henderson et al. And you said stated, then that's what it would look like. Okay, book editors who won't worry. So that's all there is to a book. That's the format you use. You need to make sure you get the commas, the full stops, and the spaces and everything in order. That's what a book looks like. Right. Let's go to the next source, which is a conference paper. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I just have people making a noise in the background. And right. So a conference paper is as follows. It's the author's names again, the year, the title of the conference paper. Right, so that's the same as everything else, not in italics. It's then you need to find, and we're going to go through examples later and how to find all this information a bit later. Then you would say in, because this conference paper will be published in proceedings. So you say in, you'd put the author, the editor's name, Jennings, comma, A, full stop, and you'd put the edition, ed, full stop, in brackets, full stop afterwards, the title of the proceedings. So in other words, wherever the, whatever the conference was called, comma, the city the conference took in, the country, comma, the date of the conference, full stop, and then who published the proceedings, because someone has to publish it, and where was it published? It was published in Johannesburg. The publisher was SATU, comma, the page numbers. Or if you want to, you could even have colon the page numbers. Either or is fine as long as you consistent. So take notice of all, and it's just the formula you need to follow. You will find probably conference proceedings. So just remember the author name, the surname, year, title of the article, in the editors. If there's more than one editor, then it would be EDS, and maybe this is and Kabu, comma, X, full stop. So if there's more than one editor, then it would be EDS. If there's only one, it would be ED. The title of the conference proceedings, comma, the city where it took place, the country, the date, and full stop, who was the publisher, the city, who was the publisher, and that's it. A bit more complicated, the conference proceedings. Something I forgot to show you here is the book chapter is similar. A chapter in a book with the editor is similar to the conference proceedings. So in other words, it's a book, but you've downloaded a paper which is a chapter in it. It's the author, the year, the title of the article, then it would be in, and then it would be the editors. In this case, there's two editors, Duff, comma, A, full stop, and Smith, the initials, EDS, as I showed you below, the title of the book in italics, full stop, the city it was published in, the publisher, comma, the page number. So you can see it's the same as conference proceedings, except the conference proceedings has a bit more. The difference conference, this is the same. The editors, the title of the conference or title of the book is same. The only difference between the book chapter and this is this information. So the conference proceedings would actually have where the conference took place and the date of the conference. That would be the difference, and then the publishers and page number. So you can see it's pretty much the same as a book chapter, which you'll also be finding. When you search for articles, you'll find conference papers and book chapters, so it's important. Right, so you can see that there's just a few bits of extra information that you need to put for a conference proceeding. So that's another common source. Next common source is the internet. So say you took something from CPUT, and if you can't find any date anywhere, then you would put ND, but usually it's not the case. Usually, even if you read the source, often there's a date mentioned within, or if you scroll down to the bottom, there could be a copyright, and it could be 2023, then that's what you'd put. I'm pretty much against ND. Any source you say ND, I'm going to go and double check and see if I can't find a year. And 99 times out of 100, I can find a year. So ND, if there's no date in the document, that does not happen often though. Then you would put the title of whatever you've downloaded, the link in italics. You would put the full URL. So if I click on this link, it's going to take me to the source. Then in square brackets, no full stop here, you place the date that you accessed it. So this would be the date it was published. Let's just say it was 2023. And then this differs the date you accessed it. So say you accessed it today, it is the 18th of February 2025. Right, that's all there is to reference. And this full, you don't need to hyperlink this. It's not hyperlinking in any event. In other words, yeah, it's not. Let's just change this to .cozo maybe. And let's just see if that would hyperlink. Oh, it's just not. Yeah, there it hyper. You can do that if you want to, but it's up to you. Just be careful when you do hyperlink. And now, often if you do this and you take your brackets and let's just say take a short month, 1st of May, you accessed it. You see what it did? You don't have to hyperlink it, but if you do, you don't want it hyperlinking your date. So then you're actually going to have to delete this one, move this here, go one, and do that. Or you usually have to click undo so that it doesn't hyperlink this. But you don't need to hyperlink this document if you can leave it. You can leave it like that, unhyper, it doesn't have to do that. And here's another example, new media publishing, year, title, whatever you've taken in italics, the full link. So if it takes me, so this was the home page, and the date you accessed it. So say you accessed it yesterday, 17th of February. then it would look like that, full stop at the end. So that's all there is to internet referencing. Take notice, you'll find journal articles and theses and everything online, but you don't reference them like an online source. If it's a journal article, you need to reference it as a journal article, if that's what the source is. It happens to be available online, but you need to reference it as such. If you find a thesis online, you reference it as a thesis. If you find a book online, you still reference it as a book. You don't reference it as an online source, so take note of that. Interviews you won't use. The most common source that you're going to use this year is a journal article. And I've already showed you how to find journal articles. And I'm going to show you on Google Scholar how you can immediately extract the reference for a journal or any source you extract via Google Scholar. And I will show you that in the second half of the presentation. So a journal article, you place the author and the initials, like all things, separated with a comma, the year, the title of the journal article not in italics, and then the title of the journal in italics, and each word is capitalized, colon, and then the page numbers if there's no volume or issue number. Okay, so that's how it is. Usually there is a volume and issue number, but sometimes if it's published early, then there's no volume and issue number. Then you would also put the DOI number afterwards if there's no volume and issue, because sometimes it takes 2 years before a journal actually allocates a volume and issue number. So they publish the article online, but then they need to assign it to a volume and an issue, and this can take place a year or 2 years later. So until then, there won't be a volume and issue number. That's why often, like if you write something now for me for practical 1, and then you use the same reference in your assignment at the end of the year, then you'll notice that something that didn't have a volume number, you need to now go and check, is there volume and issue? Because sometimes the year then also changes. If the volume and issue comes in 1998, then this year would change when you add the volume and issue afterwards. So if suddenly you check like 6 months later, it has a volume or issue, and say it was in volume 8 and in issue 2, then you would add that in, you would remove that space, and say this volume only took place next year, then you would change the year. See? So most journals publish articles online immediately, and then later on they add the volume and issue, which could be 6 months, a year, 2 years later. If there's a volume, issue, and page number, and here they say, yeah, it would look like this: author, year, title, not in italics, not capitalized. Don't capitalize each word in the journal title. Leave it sentence case. The title of the journal, that both words are capitalized, but this is one word, comma, the volume, the issue, colon, the page numbers. So this is what would go in the reference list. If there's a volume, issue, and season, so it's author, and don't leave a space between the initials, and don't put a comma here either. So just take notice of those little tips. The title of the article, the title of the journal in italics, both words capitalize, the main words, the volume, there is no issue here, colon, page numbers. If there's a season, you could put it there, but usually people don't put the season. They usually just, you don't need to. And likewise with this, if there's a month, so you can put the month, but again, most people don't worry with the month. They just do it like that. So it's author, year, title of the journal article, title of the journal, each word capitalized, volume, issue, page numbers. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, well, I'll show you a few other things in the other document. Newspapers, no one uses newspapers anymore. A thesis, so very important. Again, it's the author or authors, because sometimes a thesis can be more than one author. The year, the title of the thesis, not in italics, right? Full stop, unpublished PhD thesis, or unpublished master thesis, or unpublished, you often say doctoral thesis, or unpublished bachelor thesis. But you do not state if it's a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Business, or you just state it in general terms, bachelor's thesis. Comma, the university, comma, the town the university is located in, comma, the country. I always suggest you put the country because there are universities with the same names in different countries. Could even be in the same city in different countries because there's many Grahamstowns around the world. So that is, and you always put the word unpublished, even though you find it online. That's what you do. And so that's all there is to a thesis. And yeah, I've showed you multiple source, showed you all of that. Yeah, there's nothing more to show. So that's the quick guide, and you pretty much don't need anything more than that. Don't save changes. But then let's go to the full CPUT official Harvard referencing style. There's a few things I want to show you. It's 99.9% the same as the quick guide. Just to confirm, you can see my screen that says CPUT official Harvard referencing style. Can you please confirm? Also,
Yes,
just
sir.
thank you. Just checking you're still awake as well, but this is vitally important. So the CPT Harvard style is much more detailed than the quick guide, and I'll just quickly run you through this before we go to examples. So it shows you books, blogs, conference papers, the same, encyclopedias, government publications. So if there are other sources than the ones I showed you, you'll find how to reference them here: legislation, magazines, music stores, theses. So you can use this for others. But the ones I've shown you will cover 99% of the sources that you are going to reference. So let's just go through. It gives you more details about referencing. So it shows you how to what a book looks like in the in-text reference, and then it illustrates how it goes at the beginning of sentence and after the sentence. It's the same, author, year, title, where the publisher is in city, not country, and publisher. 2 authors, it shows you what it looks like and how to in-text reference. 3 authors, again, it shows you exactly what I've showed you. Books with editors, or okay, usually if there's an editor, and how the 10th edition works, I've showed you that already. And a chapter in the book, I've already showed you author, title, in the editor's name, ed full stop, the title of the book it's published in that chapter, colon, and then comma, the page numbers. So it's the same. Right, let's carry on. So books, they say if it's electronic book, somewhere here, uh, books. I'm not in favor books in a reference list are put in this internet type source. You don't need to do that. In other words, the link, I've never seen it in practice in any reference lists or journals. So I would delete that and just reference a book as a book. And again, a book, like they're saying, an ebook, again, an ebook, all books you can get online now. So I wouldn't put the URL and the date you accessed it, just reference a book as a book. That's a bit of frilly bit to add, that's different to add that. I wouldn't do that because everything's available online. So then we reference everything as an internet, so it doesn't make sense. A book's a book. A blog is pretty much the same as the internet reference. So the author, the year, the title in italics. So if a blog, you could put in the square brackets blog and the actual date it was written, if it exists, full stop, and then the full URL link and the date you accessed it. So say you accessed it, 19th of January, then you would put that. So that's, you could add that in, but you don't have to, because if it's going to say blog here, so then oh, it's a blog. But you can, if you want to, add that in as well. Okay, this we've already covered, in-text referencing, computer programs, conference papers, we've covered already. I'm not going to go through that again, but the same, it's the same story. Authors, title of the paper, in the editors, the proceedings. They've got the date. They didn't have where the conference was taking place. Sometimes it may not be able to find that information, the date, and who the publishers were, comma, the page numbers. Sometimes for a conference paper, you put the paper, the author, the year, the title, and then sometimes it's not published in proceedings. It's like a standalone paper. So you just say paper presented at this conference, the date it took place, and they even given a link, which I'm not in favor of. So if it's not published in anything and you actually attended this conference and you don't have the details, then you could just, present. But it's more the common format is this format. It's always published in something. Correspondence, data sets, lectures, electronic, encyclopedias. We're not going to cover all this. Government publications, we won't really be using. Journal articles, it's the same. So, author, year, title of the article, title of the journal in italics, each word capitalized, except for the small words, volume, issue, page number. 2 authors, 3 authors, remember 3 authors is in-text reference et al. Again, if there's A, B, if there's 2 authors with the same name and the same year, then it goes alphabetical, so it explains that. Journal article and electronic thesis, I am in favor of this. You can put the DOI number, but then you got to put it for all. But particularly when there's a journal which is published early. So say this doesn't have a volume or issue and it's page 1 to 22, right? And it doesn't have the volume or issue number, then you can add this DOI number, and most journals have a DOI. So particularly when before the volume and issue, then add the DI. But you can add it in any event if you want to, because that's common practice. You can add it. Just go forward. So you can add it in any event, but then you've got to do it for all journals. So it's not necessary if there's a volume and issue, but if there's no volume and issue and just pages, then you could. On electronic databases, again, don't do that. It's not done in practice. Add in the full link. Only the DOI, not a link. Just volume issues enough. Okay, legislation. What else is here? Maps. No, I'm just going through the common ones. Newspapers, online videos, podcasts, pamphlets. Let's just go through. See, it gives you all this. Social media. CPUT, let's celebrate. Then they actually have Facebook, the date it was written, the full URL, and the date it's accessed. Just like a blog, you can do that. But again, it's not imperative that you include this part. You could just have, because you can see, oh, it's from Facebook there. But there's no harm in including that as well. And the date you accessed it, so say you accessed it in February, then that would go there. Okay, like that. Theses, again, the same. The author, the title of the thesis, unpublished, doctoral, unpublished masters, where it was, Wellington. In here, they don't have the country, but I suggest you add the country because there are Wellingtons all over the world. So just to be sure that you put the country. I would not put where you access it from as well. And this I would put South Africa as well. Unpublished master thesis. Okay, websites, the author's name, if there is, the title of it, the full URL, and the date you accessed it. Maybe you accessed it the 12th of January. Website, CPUT shows the no date again, but usually if you scroll down, there's a copyright, and yeah, that's it. And then you would reference list would look like this. There's a mistake there. It should be January. So that's what the reference would look like. Don't change these. Right, so that's referencing. Now let's practice referencing. So that's how it needs to look. It's a formula. There's nothing to understand. It is how it is. For in-text reference and the author's years and page numbers, for the reference list, there's different formats for different sources. So to help you, I've developed a little example, and then I've also emailed you an activity that you can email to me before Friday, complete it, email it to me before Friday, and then I'm going to go through it in class so that it gives you a bit of practice at the different types of sources. So I'm going to go through this example, and then we're going to go to Google Scholar as well to see how that can help you with referencing, and then we'll go to AI to see how it can help you convert to CPUT's correct format. So let's go to the example, and I've emailed this to you, and it's on Blackboard as well, just to confirm that you can see the Harvard reference technique example on your screen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for confirming. So what I've done is I've given you 6 sources and all the information you need to be able to reference it, and then to also just write a little bogus paragraph in text referencing. So the first one is an online book. I've given you the full link so that you can actually go to the book, but I've taken screenshots. So what do you need to reference a book? First, you need the authors, and here it is, Khan Rashid. You need the title of the book. Here it is, Building Better Chatbots. There's 2 authors here. The publisher is A Press. What else? There doesn't seem to be any additions. The year is 2018. This copyright sells at 2018. And down below, it gives the city is New York. So do you have everything? Yes. So that's the information you need. If we go to the reference list, year, and here's the source. So you'd place the authors, Khan R and Das, the year, the title, the city, and the publisher. That's how simple it is. If you're in text referencing it, let's just say you start the sentence, Khan and Das stated the pages you've used that companies build the artificial. That's what it looked like. Or you could put it at the end of the sentence. If you put it at the end of the sentence, how it changes. If you say, you change this and you say companies build better chatbots, and you place it at the end, you delete that, you place a comma there, this and becomes a and, this becomes a comma. Authors are always separated between the year and the comma. Page 2, full stop. That's what it looked like at the end of the sentence. It's your choice. You alternate it. So that's a book. If we go to the second source, a journal article, I've given you the DOI number, which would take you directly to the actual article. But what do you need? You need the authors. So here they are. 1, 2, 3 authors. The title of the actual journal article is this, facilitating retail customer use. The title of the journal is here. The volume number is here, 100, and the page numbers are here. Do you have everything? Yes, you have everything you need. So what would it look like in the reference list? You separate the authors, so Blunt, comma M, full stop, comma, each author separated, the next author, there's no comma here, and Brock C, the year, the title of the journal, comma, the colon, there's no issue, colon, that. Sometimes there's not page numbers and they have a journal has a article number. And so then this could be article number 100202. Then instead of the page numbers, you could put the article number if that is the case. And then if they give a DOI, it's your choice whether you want to put the DOI or not. Particularly if there hasn't been issued a volume, it's good to put it, but it's your choice. Either you do or you don't, but then you need to consistently apply it. How would you in-text reference this? So let's just say you end the sentence, virtual assistants communicate with voice, Blunt et al, because it's 3 or more authors, so et al, full stop, comma, the year and the page number. Or you could start the sentence with it, just to illustrate, Blunt et al, you remove that comma, colon, reveal That's virtual assistants, and then you would remove that. That's what it would look like at the beginning of the sentence. Whoops. Get my spelling right. Okay, that's a journal article. Then the next source, a book chapter. And a book chapter is a little bit more complicated. So what are you looking at? Well, firstly, you want to see here's the two authors' names. Here's the title of the article. Here's the title of the book. But you see, so often when you click on Google Scholar and you go in, you're going to see this page title, you're going to see the abstract, and you have actually taken a bit of the article, a screenshot. So this is what you would download. But you see, you're not going to see when you download the source, you're not going to see anything. Okay, it tells you it's published in Annals of Research, and here's your page numbers, and there's a volume issue, but it's not giving you the editors yet. So to get the missing information, let's just take this conversational commerce. Let me just take from the reference list, steal the actual title so that you'll see what you, yeah, chatbot. So let's go to Google Scholar. Okay. Please confirm on your page that you can see Google Scholar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Google Scholar. You can. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I cut and paste in this title, Chatbots for University, and we search for it, here we found the source. So often the cites function helps you, but I'm going to show you that later. So here's the source. You can download the paper. So you download the paper. And here it is. So chatbots, it gives you the title, it gives you the author's names, and it'll probably give you a bit of other information, i.e. gives you a bit of information here. Right. But it doesn't give you the editors, where the conference was, or it's a book chapter, a conference. It doesn't give you all the other information. So you need to click on this hyperlink here to look for further information. Have I? I don't think I've actually cut and paste the right source. What am I doing? Am I doing the book chapter? I think I'm doing a book chapter. Sorry, I needed to copy and paste this conversational commerce. Yeah, I'm jumping the gun, but I will leave that one open because we need to go to it. Go to Google Scholar, paste in this title. Here we go. Right. So here's the book chapter. I was doing the conference paper, right? So if you click on the Springer link, you can download it then. Make this a lot bigger. Oh, we can't make it. Oh, we can. Just thinking about it. So here's the book chapter. It tells you it's published in Annals of Research, volume number, author's names, book chapter name, but it's not giving you the editor's information. So to get that, you need to click on the actual hyperlink. And here it gives you, like I've done a screenshot, the title, volume, page numbers, year, authors, but it doesn't give you, well, the publisher you know is Springer, and you get Springer in Switzerland, you get Springer Singapore, you get various places, but you're hoping to see what Springer this actually is. Usually it's Sham is a city, but so you click on this book, the actual book now, and it's going to show you now, shows you a whole lot of information, but if you scroll down further here, it's got the volume, issue, latest, but somewhere along the line, it should give you the editor. And often you can get it from, but this is even given us a later issue. Last night I did see the editor. Let's just go back. Annals of Research 1333. Springer. Editor-in-Chief. Here it is. Andre Boris. So that's what you were looking for. At the bottom, does it tell you which Springer it is? If you check output. Maybe it tells you South African Library, which Springer is it sham or not? If I type our imprints, yeah, it's not giving you. So often you have to find out where the location is, but Springer is either Singapore or Switzerland. So you just go Springer, and now you want to see publishing Switzerland location is where it is. Then it will tell you, oh, it's Springer, Sham is the city. So often you have to go to Google and check, well, which city is this publisher in? Sometimes it does give it to you, but here it wasn't telling us which Singapore, so we just by default then go to Sham. But it gave you the editor. So you can see it's a bit more complicated with the book chapter. So just to go back up to the book chapter, so it's giving you everything you need, but not the editor, and it's telling us it's Springer, but not the city, but we know that's sham. So how do you reference the book chapter? It would be the two authors, the year, the title of the book chapter. Then you see here's the editor in Boris et al. The title of the book in italics, each word capitalized. The city is sham. The publisher's Springer. You can put the volume here because they give it to you, colon, the page number. Or if there's no volume, you just put comma, the page number. And there's a DOI, which you could put as well if you want to for a book chapter, but it's up to you if you put the DOI number, which usually starts with a 10. Then the next source I show you is how to do a conference paper. So here's what it looks like for the conference paper. Again, let's just go to the link rather on, oh, we've already done that. So we close this. So here's the conference paper. We've downloaded the paper, and if you download the paper, it doesn't give you much. It gives you the title, it gives you the authors, it gives you the year. So to get the rest of the information, you click on this link here. And then again, it gives you the title, it gives you the publisher IEE, it gives you the authors, it tells you the date of the conference, 13 to 26, which is perfect. It tells you the location of the conference, Udupa, India. So it's giving you all that missing information. The publisher's IEE, so what you're missing is the editors, and you're missing where IEE is located. So to get further information, often they give you a link where the conference is. So here's the publisher IE. We click on this. And it's not taking us anywhere. Introduction. In other words, yeah, it's not taking us anywhere. We can't find out, therefore, who the editors are if there's nowhere to link. We take us to this, oh, here's the conference, published in 2017. This is what we're after, published in 2017 in Advances of Computing. So this is the conference name. Click on this hyperlink, and now it should take us to the actual proceedings of the conference. And let's just see, does it give editors somewhere? Often it would give the editors year under copyright or title paper, but I can tell you now this conference did not give the editor. But usually if you download the initial pages, so let's just try and download this. It could give you, no, it just gives you all the blah there. Usually if you download the first page, copyright notice, you would get the editors here, or it would mention it somewhere on the page, but it doesn't. And so there's no editors here. And you want to know then the city IEE is located, so you can say IEEE location, and hopefully it gives you the city somewhere. It says New York. So, but you don't have editors for that. So you see, you really have to look for the editors and the city information. This is what the article looks like. How do you reference this? So you take the authors, the title. In, you see there's no editors here because we couldn't find them in the title of the actual conference, the city, where it was, the date. IG is also Piscaway. Okay, IE is another New York, but this is the other place. IE is New Jersey, um, and then page numbers. Okay. Oh, there, New York Piscaway. Yeah. So that's what we used. New Jersey. Yeah. I used this instead. But I could have just as well said, I mean, Piscaway, New Jersey is what's often used, but you could have just as well used New York as well. It's also fine. And that's a journal article. And then how to in-text reference it. There's 3 or more authors. That was, by the way, the book chapter. 3 or more authors, Ranoli and et al. Stated, or you can place it at the end. 2 more different sources examples is a thesis. So here's a thesis. It's at this university, Marla Darlins. There's 2 authors here. It doesn't matter. It's a master thesis. It doesn't matter if it's in administration. It's masters. And what are we missing is, where is this Marla Darlins University? So you need to Google this to find its location. So if I just go to I've already looked up this information. So you don't know where this location is, so you'd go copy, or just to show you what it looks like. If you found this, copy, and we go to Google Scholar, close that, go back, and we'd cut and paste this in Google Scholar. Show you what it looks like. Here you can download the thesis, but if you click here, it will take you to their repository, and gives you information. And here it actually tells you the location, but the best way to get the location is to cut and paste the university into Google Scholar. There again, it shows you the master thesis. But if I take this university name, and you want to know the city so that you have that information, you go colon, paste, and you go location, and there it tells you it's in however you pronounce that, Vastaras. So it gives you that. How would you in-text reference? I mean, place this in the references. It has 2 authors, the year, the title, unpublished master thesis, the university, comma, the town, comma, the city. How to in-text reference, say you wrote a sentence like that. Chats are important for businesses, that's how you'd reference it. The last one is an internet source, and then we'll go to Google Scholar, and I'll show you a few things. So say you use this internet site, and this is what the screenshot looks like. It gives you the title of the article, the date it was published, who the publisher was, and say you accessed it today, it gives you everything you need. But if we copy and paste this into Google Scholar, into Google internet source, here it gives you everything: the title, the author is this Analytics Labs, the date it was published, you got the URL, so that's everything you need for the reference. Internet sites are easy. This is what it would look like: Analytics, the year, the title in italics, the full URL. You don't have to hyperlink this. You could leave it like this, like that as well. But then you must do it for all the links. The date you accessed it, so say it was today, 18th February, square brackets, full stop at the end. There's no full stop there. And then how you would in-text reference it: Analytics Labs reveals, blah, 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 no page numbers. You could combine the sentences. So I want to see multiple in-text referencing. So if you combine the information, let's just say, so you could say Ranaloni, Khan, and John suggest. Take notice, it must be chronological: 2017, 2018, 2023. Like I showed you before, suggest, and you give it all. You combine this information and you wrote this, and you have, say, several at the end, Analytics Labs, Balakrish, and Blunt. You can see they're all in the same year, so therefore it's alphabetical. If you had another source in 2025, then it would be, comma 225, like that. And if you had an earlier source, Brown, comma 222, semicolon. So I've showed you these examples to help you. Right. We can close this. Don't say. So when you're busy looking for your sources now, okay, just you're all awake and alive. Okay, now we go to Google Scholar. So let's search for some sources and how you can create the sources you need for your reference list immediately. And let's just say we search for chatbots, virtual assistants, and we search since 2025, and these are the sources that we find. Okay, this source we probably can't access. You can see there's no link here, so we're not even going to try. But say now you download this source. Okay, and this source gives you a DOI, it gives you the author, the title of the journal article, it gives you the title of the journal year, Journal of Tourism, it gives you the author names, it gives you volume 5, issue 1, and it gives page numbers 1 to 19. So it would take you a bit of time to create this reference, right? But download the article. Then what you can do is you can use the cite function, okay? And if you go to cite, here it gives you Harvard, and it gives you all this information, but you can't be sure this information is correct, so I copy it, and we open a Word document. So you've downloaded the article. We'll just say we just want to put this into a get rid of the spacing, and we say single, we go okay, enter, and we'll just say we'll make it 16, and we'll cut and paste this here. Again, I just cut and paste it like this. We'll put it in italics again. So this is what Google Scholar gives you. It's very close to the CPUT style, but you need to double check that this information is correct because it gets it wrong. So once you've downloaded, download the actual article, and then you can actually also click here on this hyperlink to check. It gives you then various information here. You need to check that this information is in line with when you click the site information, because this often makes mistakes. It's not updated. But you can see that it's given you most of the information and it is correct. So to make it go to CPUT or change it to CPUT format, delete the comma. This is all correct, but this should be sentence case, not capitalizing each word. So we make it just lowercase here, but you need to change this AI back to capital. Mediating, that's all correct. You've got the journal in italics, comma, volume, issue, and you just change this to that. There's your reference for this journal article. So each journal article or thesis you download, you immediately do the reference. Just to show you quickly, when I showed you this library literature search document, which hopefully you can see CPT library search on your screen, if I go down, remember this page use Google Scholar for the references. So Google Scholar can provide you with essential information. Copy the article into Google Scholar while you would have searched for it there. Click the cite function, select Harvard, and then adapt it to CPT. Change and to and, switch PPP to colon, delete that that comma before the year. I didn't include that. But double check that the journal sources which do not have volume and issue numbers on completion of assignments and theses, see that they're not subsequently allocated. And often the Google site doesn't have the volume and issue, but if you click on the actual journal, it gives it to you. And also it gets thesis information wrong. So always double check by going to the source's website when you use Google Scholar Cite function, as it often makes mistakes or omits information but serves as a good reference basis. Okay. So let's go back to Google Scholar just to confirm that you can see the Google Scholar screen again, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So let's pick another source. Here's Springer. Okay. So if you click on this source Springer, this looks like a book chapter. This is a typical book chapter. So often it says cite this article within the book chapter, and here it gives you the citation, the author not in the correct format, but it gives you some of the information already, right? But in this book chapter, let's go back and see what information it gives you if you click cite. So it gives you some of the information for a book chapter. It's not as good, this Google site, for book chapters. So if we just uh, paste it here, and as they say, it's published in AI and Society. So in a book chapter, it gives you the year, right? So we need to delete that comma. Delete that comma. It gives you the title, but it's not giving you editors in. Who's the editors? XXX. It's not giving you that, so let's just put that in there. It's giving you the title, it's giving the page numbers. You need to delete that PP, but it's not giving you the city. It is giving you the publisher, we know is Springer, you see, so it's giving you comma. So let's see if we can find, now you need to find the missing information. And how you do that is you can obviously download the article. So download PDF, and we can open it. And here it's just giving you a DOI if you want it. The title of the book is AI and Society, the title of the book chapter, the authors, but yeah, you're missing the editors and the city. So again, you click on this AA Society, and now you see publisher, overview. Does it give you, here's the editor. You see it's giving you the editor. Yay. So you've got the editor information here that you can include now. So there's one editor, Kajit S. Gill, so it's KS is the initials, comma, K full stop S full stop. There's one editor, so it's ed.ed. So now we just listen, is it Sham, the Switzerland branch, or is it, does it say, Springer, London? So there you go. It's given you, which often it gives you that at the end. So we know that this Springer that published this is London, colon, page numbers 1 to 15. You can actually just double check that if the page numbers are correct in the article that we downloaded. It could give you the actual page numbers. Let's see. Springer, does it give us any page numbers? No, it doesn't give you any page numbers here. But often Google Scholar Cite will just give you this, but it gives you no page numbers. And any page numbers, if we go back here and we click Cite any page numbers here, no, it doesn't. So that's everything you need. So it gives you a good basis. So you had to just fill in the London. You knew it was Springer, you had to find the editor and delete the rest. So if we just go back to Google Scholar, oops, need to just go back. What else do we have here? Let's just change this to a since 2021. Anything else different it's given? Yeah, like here's another journal article. If you click download it, but if you click cite, yeah, it's pretty much giving you volume, issue. Here it has an article number. So let's just take this. So you can download this article, download it. But this article doesn't give page numbers. just click it like that, and then I must just remember it's in F100 research. So now we need to, it's giving you all the authors, comma did it, that and you know you need to change to and. You need to delete this comma before the year. This is all correct. It's giving the journal, comma the volume. This you need to change to this. And this 647 is an article number. So if you just double check that there isn't page numbers, so you click on this, where was it? So this one, no, that's a different one. That's Helen. Let's click on this one. Yeah, it's this one. Document, ProQuest. Oh, this is again a different source. Never mind. What source did we download here? Consumer behavior in conversation. Oh, yeah, this is the one we took. Consumer behavior. And now you can check. It gives you title, everything, volume, keywords. Yeah, so it's giving you an article number here. It's not giving you page numbers. If you download the source, that will maybe tell you if there is page numbers. Maybe that's what we should have done first. That's the best thing. Let's make it bigger. 13th, all the details, page 1 to 14. So 11647 is the article number, so you can give that instead of the page numbers because it's just 1 to 14. But I mean, you could also go 1 to 14, but when there's an article number, it's preferable to give the article number. So that is how you can use it to help you. Let's just see if we can find a thesis. And then I'm going to show you AI lastly in the last 10 minutes. Full view. Let's just go next and see if I can find a thesis somewhere. Springer Wiley.ac.za. So I'm pretty sure that's a thesis. But if you click on this, unfortunately, it's going to download the whole thing. Oh no, it's not a thesis. It's looked like a thesis, but it's not. It's a journal article. Just go next and see. I just want to show you a thesis. Let's just type dissertation. Get my spelling right. Let's just see if we can find a thesis. Okay, is this a thesis? Yeah, so this looks like a thesis. Chatbots, customers. It's in Latin. It doesn't tell us what, if it's a master's or doctorate thesis. But it's postgrad. Let's just download the document. That often gives you some more information. Chatbots. This is the university, Lapland. So it's Finland. Master thesis. That's what we are after. A university of, and does it even give you the town? Author, it doesn't give you the town, so you'd have to Google the town, this Lappen University. So it gives you a lot of information. But if you click cite, you see what information, it just gives you the title. It doesn't give you that it's a master thesis, the city, and the university. So that information you would have to find afterwards. So I'm saying it's not always useful, and if you find book chapters and stuff, as you say, you need to look more. So now let's just say, for example, you find references. So let's just say you've taken certain references. So we go cite, and we take this reference, copy, and you haven't converted it to the CPUT format. Let's just go enter, and we just copy and paste this as it is here, and we download some other sources. Cite, let's just say we've downloaded them. You see this one's also given also an article number. Often it gives an article number, and let's just again download a few more sources. And here's a conference proceedings. This is not going to work. It's not going to work for this because you've got to look for information. but specifically for that's not going to work. Let's just find, here's another one, cite, what's this? Okay, this is missing information, but let's just take it nevertheless. So again, you're going to have to look for information for that source, or it's missing the page numbers, you see, so that you would have to find. Just exploring, let's just see if we can find the page numbers by downloading it. So you need to get that missing information. There it is, 196. You can see it's 196 it starts at and ends at 206. So you'd need to put that in, 196 space 206. So just to give all the information that you need. So I'm not converting this. Just download one more source or get the reference using this. Let's just take the Springer site. Here's another source, copy. So here I've taken, make it a bit bigger, sources, 4 sources. I haven't converted it. I've used Harvard, the journal articles. Let's see if we put this in ChatGPT, if it can convert it to CPUT style, and then you can prompt it to actually put it in the correct style. Just need to plug in. So ChatGPT, you can just log in with your, you can just log in. We'll close this, we'll open this, we'll close that, and I've just got ChatGPT as a shortcut. So here's ChatGPT. What can we help with? Usually you must log in with your Google account just to confirm that you can see the ChatGPT screen on your screen.
Yes, sir.
You can, thank you. So now you're going to say convert the following references to the CPUT Harvard reference style, colon, and we're going to paste these references here, paste, and let's see what it does. And yeah, it done a jolly good job, except it shouldn't place the authors in bold. Everything else, and there shouldn't be a space between the volume and page numbers, and it shouldn't place the the volume number in bold. So you can tell it and say, do not place the authors in bold. Do not place the volume numbers in bold. Do not leave a space between the volume issue number and the page numbers. Let's see how it reacts now when we prompt it to try and fix it. Okay, to remove the bold, remove the space. Perfect. Okay, so what else is do not number the references, but place in alphabetical order. Let's go. Let's see what it says. And there you go, your references are perfect. If you follow author, year, place the italics, volume, issue, perfect. So you see what it can do. Now you can you can't cut and paste your whole reference, but obviously you need all the information. And you can program it to place the references correct. Then you shouldn't make any mistakes in your reference list. But what you can do is, let's just say, let me just open a article in a different format totally. Let's go to, there's one more thing I want to show you. Uh, um, I'll just show you that, but let's just open some article, master students, journal article. So say it's in a totally different format. Not that it should be, but maybe you used a few sources from somewhere. And now this is in a total different format, right? And let's just take, and even a book chapter, we'll see what it does with that. Book chapter, and here's an internet reference. I want to see what it does with the internet reference. So here's 4 sources, and it's got a book chapter, it's got an internet source, internet source. So now that we programmed it, copy, we just don't even need to prompt it. We just place in this and we say, just go for it. And now let's just see, the reference remembers. Yep, journal articles, perfect, perfect. You see, it's doing everything perfectly now, commas, spaces, everything right. The book chapter in ADD so that should be lowercase, so you could program it. The chapter, cham, colon, comma, everything's fine, except it hasn't got that right, and it hasn't got the Gascon right. So this you could just change yourself to lowercase, but because if you're gonna, you could say change eds to lowercase, and then we're going to say remove the words. I mean, you could just available at, and accessed from the internet source. Let's see what it does. It kind of mashed it up a bit last night. Let's just see. So the journal articles are still correct. Now let's just see what it did to these other things. There it changed EDS to EDS, and it removed the, obviously this date access you would change it, I mean, it would be your date, and there it's perfectly correct. Now if you took other sources from this, it should be programmed. So let's just take these, they're mostly journal articles, and you paste them in and you go enter. Now it should be programmed to get everything correct, changing it to correct format. Obviously you need to know what the referencing needs to look like, and there's your references perfectly. You just cut and paste this out and it's done. So you can use it once you've got all the information. You can program ChatGPT to put it in the correct format for you. And so the last thing I want to show you quickly, I know it's just gone 10, but it will only take 1 minute, is, don't save, is the last thing is if I just open this Word document and I open a thesis. Oh, not valid. Let's just open a thesis. Let's just open Butameli, who should graduate in April, and I open her thesis. So last thing, just to show you how referencing looks once you've done it correctly. Okay, you should be able to see on your screen Master of Marketing Thesis. It's the last minutes. Can you see Master of Marketing Thesis on your screen? Yes?
Yes, okay.
Thank you. So the last thing to show you is, and theses, as I say, have got good examples of the background to the research problem and everything, but once you reference in correctly, download a few theses from the CPT website, look for some of my students. I think you can search by supervisor. So here's a background to the research problem to show you what it looks like. So she says, in social media, advertising is becoming important. Look here, she references 4 sources correctly in terms of chronological and alphabetical. For marketers against, she in-text references 4 sources. TV and newspapers, she in-text references. Serving to meet information, in-text references. Communication, and so she references, you can see how it works. There's 2.3 billion users. That's an internet source. Such an, these two, Jane and references. Here's the research importance. Generation is highly responsive. In-text 4 and 5 sources. So you've got these same headings here that you need to find information for. Just to even show you more when she goes to the research gaps. Such and such says extensive knowledge is required. Look here, she in-text. However, more studies were conducted in the global research. Look at that. All just in-text references, chronological, alphabetical. And this is what your practical should have, focused on millennials and them, all in-text reference. And this is in a first couple of pages of a thesis. And by the time she's finished, if you go to a reference list, here it starts on page 180, a reference list. And if I just go down and down and down and down, all in the correct format, and we scroll down, it starts on page 180, and we're still going down, all using this format, all the way to page 236. So she has 56 pages of references, all in the correct format that I'm showing you now. And the in-text referencing at the beginning is all correct.